Hey guys, this week for Weapons Wednesday, we're going to take a look at some of the new weapons we just added to the KarateMart.com website. But before we begin, if you could just like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be awesome. Alright guys, so I brought you back into the warehouse to look at some of our new weapons, and I just want to mention that there's links in the description to all the items I show off. So without further ado, let's go on to the first weapon. Alright guys, so Will's going to join us today to test out this new item that we just got. This is called the Quick Defense Stun Gun. And it's really cool. The thing I like the most about it is how easy to use it is. First off, it's got this non-slip grip on it, which just makes it so comfortable in the hand. But the thing I like about it the most is how easy it is. So to use it, we just flip the switch once, and that turns on your LED light. Once that switches on, you can see that the safety's turned off by that red light there. So to use a stun gun, we just hit this enormous trigger that's on the side of it. There we go. And then if we flip the switch down, just if you have earphones on, take them off because this is going to be loud. Alright, so that is a 120 decibel personal alarm, and I think that is such an incredible feature for this stun gun. I mean, isn't that awesome? Like if someone's going to attack you, first off you have the option of an alarm to gather people around you just to make sure they're aware of what's going on, and then if you really need it, you have your stun gun available to you. So I really love this. I think this is one of the most easy to use stun guns that they have out there on the market today. So one feature that I really love about this stun gun is how easy it is to charge. So a lot of the stun guns, you got to plug in like a micro USB cable or something. This one, you just hit this button and out comes the plug and you just plug it right into your wall. So such an easy stun gun to charge up, have it ready for you when you need it next. Another really cool feature of it is it's got this wrist strap here, which you can put on your wrist. And if someone tries to grab the stun gun from you, it takes out the disable pin. So all of a sudden your stun gun's not going to do anything. So if someone tried to grab it from you and used it against you, it's not going to work. So let's go ahead and put that disable pin back in. And the manufacturer says that this is 21 million volts. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know that we don't take that number seriously. The manufacturers just throw a number onto the stun guns to make them appear stronger than other stun guns. So the way that we test them is we actually like to have someone shock me in the videos. And I hate it, but I feel like it's a necessary thing to make sure that these stun guns are effective. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Will. I'll take the safety off. There we go. And I'm going to have him stun me in the arm because that seems to be a pretty good place to test him out. So
here we go.
All right, Will. Ah, jeez. Gets me every time. Yeah, so definitely an effective stun gun. I guess the thing I like the most about it is just how easy to use it is. So awesome. Thank you so much, Will. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And that trigger is just so cool. Like, how big is that? You're not going to miss that trigger if you ever needed it. It's just right there and ready to go. So, all right, let's go on to another item. So the next item we're going to look at is the titanium finish tactical Karambit. And I love this knife. I really love it because it's one of those knives that's very inexpensive but actually made really well. So let's just take a closer look. First off, it's got a 1065 German surgical steel blade and the handle is made out of stainless steel. So that's not some cheap plastic knife. It's actually fairly heavy. It's about 5.4 ounces. And as far as feel goes, that is super comfortable in my hand. I love that. Actually, if we look at it, that's just perfect as far as the fit of my fist goes. So really nice. It's about 6.25 inches long with a 2.5 inch blade, so about the perfect size for a Karambit. And it's got this steel belt clip on the side, which a lot of the time I find those kind of annoying because they get in the way, but this one actually feels super comfortable in my hand. So there's not much negative I can say about this knife. For an inexpensive knife, I absolutely love it. In fact, this is one that I might actually start carrying. So really nice little pocket Karambit. I love it. Let's put that away and go on to something else. Alright, so the next weapon we're going to look at is the Cogwheel Trench Club. And the history behind trench clubs is actually super interesting. Back in World War I, soldiers would perform these nighttime raids on enemy soldiers by crawling over to their trenches and attacking them with close-quarter weapons like daggers and clubs. They would choose these weapons because they were quiet enough not to draw the attention of other soldiers, and they would make them out of anything that they could find in their trenches. Of course, there were different types, but this is generally about the size that they were, which is perfect for fighting in a narrow trench. So if we take a closer look at this, it's got this wooden handle that's been stained a dark brown, and it's got this solid metal cogwheel on the end, which is actually pretty painful. But it's kind of cool because it gives us this like steampunk type look to it, so I like that. It's got this imitation leather wrap along the handle, which makes it pretty comfortable. Total weight is about 12.5 ounces, and it's approximately 17.75 inches long, so a pretty good size for a trench club. But I actually want to see if this thing will break something. It feels pretty strong, feels pretty hefty, but let's go ahead and take this outside and actually break something with it. Well, I'm pretty excited to hit this watermelon because I can tell that this trench club is absolutely going to destroy it. So let's go ahead and hit this watermelon. So yeah, I got myself pretty bad. Alright, let's go back inside and look at another weapon. Alright, so the next weapon we're going to look at is the solid brass dragon Tekko. And this is another one of those items that has a really interesting story behind it. Back in feudal Japan, people weren't allowed to have weapons. And that caused a really big problem for farmers because people were coming onto their property and stealing their crops, and they had no way to defend themselves. So they got smart, and what they did is they started figuring out how to turn farming utensils and other things that they'd find on their property into weapons. And that's where the Tekko comes from. There were actually a couple different types of Tekko. There were some that were made out of two different horseshoes that were welded together, formed into a weapon. And then there were this style, which actually originated from the stirrups of a horse. So really kind of cool. Nowadays, it would be more of like a brass knuckle type of weapon. So because of that, it's very important that you check your local laws before even considering to purchase or carry something like this. And that goes along with all the weapons that we're showing on this video. Always a good idea to check your local laws. So let's just take a closer look at this Tekko. First off, it's really heavy. This thing weighs about 14 ounces, which is a really solid weight. And then it's got these little spikes on it, and they're not sharpened, but man, I can't even imagine what kind of damage that would do if you hit something with that. It's pretty awesome. As far as comfort goes, that fits my hand just perfectly. I have a fairly large hand too, and it's perfectly comfortable in my fist. I can imagine that it would fit most people's hands really nicely. The total length is about 7 inches long, so that's a good size for this. And it's got this dragon design to it, which is reminiscent of Japanese folklore, which is very appropriate for this weapon. So overall, I love this. I can't see anything that I don't like about it. I think it's awesome, but let's move on to something else. Alright, so the last weapons we're going to look at today are the Stealth Tactical Kama and the Red Blade Tactical Kama, and I absolutely love these. Now, similar to the Tekko that we just looked at, these actually originated in feudal Japan as well, from the sickle. So if we look closely at these, first off we can see that it's got a fiberglass reinforced nylon handle, which is really nice to see nowadays on weapons, because that's very difficult to break. And then if we look how the blade is connected to the handle, it's got the tang that goes all the way down to there, which means that that's reinforced into the handle really nicely. So the blades themselves are made out of a stainless steel, and let's just look at how thick those are. Look at that blade. It's not overly sharp, but that thing would do some major damage if it hit something. So I absolutely love that. So the blade itself is about 8 1/4 inches, and the overall length of the weapon is about 15 1/2 inches, which is a really good size to practice your martial arts techniques. One of the other things I like about it is it's got this hole here so we can add in a wrist strap if we want. And it comes with this nylon sheath, which is perfect for storage. So overall, I absolutely love these things. But if you have any questions on these or any of the other weapons I showed off in this video, please leave them in the comments below. And check out KarateMar.com because we've got all sorts of really cool weapons on there. But until next week, we'll see you Weapons Wednesday.